Welcome, lovers of strong images and metal music. So this is a long-term review of the Zoom F2 BT, and this review is focusing on the added values of the BT version only, so if it's worth the extra $50. And spoiler alert, if you're looking into using timecode or using more than one device in parallel, in my humble opinion, it's not worth the extra $50, and the additional features that are coming with the BT version are pretty useless. So all the details in the video right after the intro. Okay, the firmware version I'm using for this review is version 1.2 for all F2 BTs I was reviewing, or I am reviewing. And there are two main areas of my critique. So one is the timecode implementation, and the second one is the app in combination with the F2 BT, okay? And I'm really stunned about what I found, and it's unbelievable. From my perspective, this is like having the F2s in a kind of prototype status. And this video is quite tough for me, since I'm actually quite a Zoom fanboy. Ever since they released this guitar effects processor you could attach to your guitar build. It was model number 9002, so just for your info. Most, and if not all, of the issues I found could be closed easily by Zoom by a firmware or an app update. So my suggestions you will find at the end of this video. So now, let's check out the first issue, which is the timecode implementation. So it's not the timecode feature, it's the timecode implementation. So for having timecode, you need this device. Yeah, it's the Atomos AltoSync Blue. And Atomos acquired a company called Timecode System, which specified the Bluetooth timecode over Bluetooth protocol, and also developed this device. And Zoom implemented this proprietary protocol, so with the F3 also, and also the F6 and some other devices, I think. So timecode is transmitted by the AltoSync Blue over Bluetooth and received by the F2 BT over Bluetooth. And the F2 BT is then writing timecode directly to the metadata of the WAV file it's being recorded, which is perfect. Now here comes the really insane issue. The connection between these two devices is obviously wireless. Wireless connections can be lost or disrupted, which is also obvious. And I will show you what happens when the F2 BT is losing the connection to the AltoSync Blue when pressing record, and in that second when you're pressing record, the connection is being lost. So here you can see that we've got two F2 BTs which are in sync with the AltoSync Blue, which is being indicated by all these LEDs flashing. So the LEDs of the F2 BTs are flashing in sync with the LED of the AltoSync Blue. So everything is set up, everything is fine, we are ready to go with timecode. On my phone display, you can see the current time of day, which will become important in a second. Now I'm pressing record on one of the F2s. In this moment, everything is still fine. Timecode is being received. To simulate signal loss, I'm now switching off the AltoSync Blue. And after the AltoSync Blue has shut down, I'm pressing record on the other F2 BT, which now has lost the signal to the timecode processor. Okay? So in the second I'm pressing record, no timecode is being received. So now I'm taking these files I just recorded into DaVinci Resolve, since DaVinci Resolve can read timecode. And as you can see, the recording with the active connection to the AltoSync Blue recorded timecode correctly. And it's also continued after the signal was lost. The second device, which started recording timecode after the signal was lost, recorded time of day. So it's basically the same time you just saw on my phone. And it's what the time was recorded by the internal clock of the F2. So that's the reason why I had to put my phone clock displayed so you can see what's happening here. The time of day was recorded from the internal clock of the F2 BT, which is important. So my phone wasn't connected to the F2 BT, so that was just for displaying. Okay. So this timecode implementation is absolutely insane. Okay, I couldn't believe it when I found out. The chances of having signal loss during a shoot is pretty high. I purchased 4 of the F2 BT devices, at once for a job I was booked for. And 2 of the 4 devices had time of day recorded on that day, and which took me some extra hours to fix it in post afterwards. So at that shoot, we had all devices set up correctly, all LEDs were flashing nicely, everything was fine. I had the AltoSync Blue in my pocket, but I had to step out of frame, out of the scene sometimes because there were glass and windows in the back, so my mirrored image shouldn't be displayed in them, so I had to step away for some meters. So the implementation you would have expected is that the internal clock of the F2 BT would continuing with timecode in free run mode until reconnecting to the AltoSync Blue, okay? And according to a video from a channel called Zoom USA, so the channel was renamed in the meantime, I'm linking the video in the description, the internal clock's accuracy of the F2 BT is accurate enough to maintain timecode for like at least 4 hours to be still in sync with the original signal, okay? And this implementation, how they implemented it so that it's just writing time of day in case of signal loss, makes a semi-professional or professional use completely impossible, since you can't control it at all. The first chance of you finding out that timecode recording wasn't happening is when importing the files into like a software like DaVinci Resolve, which can read timecode. Okay, it's absolutely insane. And what sets me up additionally is that this behavior is mentioned nowhere, not in the manual, not on the website, not in the specs, nowhere. The only time they are talking about timecode is when they are talking about the configuration app, which I'm coming to in a second. Okay, so the second issue is that there's a timecode mode and an app mode. Okay, the F2 BTs work either in app mode or in timecode mode. So there must be something about the proprietary timecode over Bluetooth protocol, since the same behavior is also, or the Tascam X6, for example, is also working in app mode or timecode mode only. So this means you have to decide if you want to use timecode or if you want to use the app. And if you are using the app, you're not getting any timecode. I tried to get some feedback from Atomos. I wrote them an email, but I couldn't receive any answer. So because with a highly precise internal clock, it shouldn't be necessary to have a permanent Bluetooth connection or having a permanent timecode signal, since, as I described before, the internal clock could take over for a while. Okay, and the rest of the time you could then use the Bluetooth interface with the app. But now let's assume this is not possible for some API related issues or reasons. And there's still another issue with the F2 BT. It's you can't change the modes with the device only. You have to connect it via an USB-C cable to your Windows PC or your Mac, and you have to use the F2 editor app, which is not the F2 app for Android or iOS. It has to be the application running on Windows or PC to change between these modes, okay? So I just came back from a trip to Norway, and since I only brought my iPad, which is working perfectly with Capture One and DaVinci Resolve, I had no chance to get the F2 BT into app mode because I took them with me in timecode mode when I was leaving. And I wanted to have them in app mode for some easier shoots I did, okay? So again, this implementation is not reflecting any practical input or any practicality of using these devices. A simple button combination which can take the device from one mode to another would have solved this issue. The Tascam X6, it's a little bit more complicated. It's got an LED display. It's got a display and buttons and software buttons, etc. So it's more complex, but it's working like that. You can use you can change the modes on the device, okay, which should be possible with a button press combination. And the third issue is the app itself. The basic functions of the app are totally fine, okay? But the app, you can't use the app with multiple devices to control multiple devices. You can connect the app to one device only, so you have to switch between devices, and in addition, which is absolutely annoying, you can't change the Bluetooth name of the devices. So if you got multiple F2s, they will show up as F2s only, as you can see in the screenshot here. And my ideal app would actually be capable of handling several devices in parallel, showing the record status in real time, and also having some kind of monitoring available, like some flashing levels, so you can show or see that audio is being recorded, and also having some remote access to the WAV files so you can listen to them after recording, okay? So my suggestion, since I think you can solve this with software updates, so my suggestions to Zoom would be to have the following updates. So we are going through the firmware for the device only, and then afterwards for the app. So when looking at the firmware, a button combination should be included, so you can switch between the modes. So timecode mode and app mode is like hold one button pressed when switching it on, or something like this. And then Zoom should add a free run mode, so that in case of signal loss, the internal clock is taking over, continuing with the timecode until reconnecting again. And if possible, make it possible that you can use the device in timecode mode and app mode in parallel, like for having it resync every hour, for example, and the rest of the time it runs in app mode. And when this is happening, it would also be great to have the files in the app showing the timecode that has been recorded. Then concerning the app, please add a feature that the Bluetooth name of the device can be changed, and create a kind of multiple device mode, so that you're getting an overview of every device, status, etc., as I said before. And also somehow display the timecode that's being recorded right now and that's being received. Okay, so that's it from my side, guys. I hope this helped. And if you like more of these straightforward reviews and other content, please like and subscribe. Show me that you like it. Send me some comments, feedback, etc., what you would like to see. You can also send me a wish list, what you want to see, not my wish list. I don't need new shoes. Okay. And always remember, guys, to listen to more heavy metal. See you.